Welcome back to Rocket Gyan, my fellow space tubers. Okay, okay. So today, finally, we will be witnessing a launch, most probably from a company which is kinda facing problems with weather, with not rocket, but with ground systems and all. So after so much long, we will finally be witnessing a launch from ULA. Yeah, and personally, guys, I'm really excited for this mission because this mission today will be like uh, a big one because there will be some changes also to the hardline code of the rocket timeline. Not timeline, but yeah, the rocket itself. I'll talk about those changes in a bit. But before that, guys, if you are just joining in, you can hit that like button if you know what I do. And yeah, so UL, if you don't know, guys, is headed by Tory Bruno and is a company which is like a most reliable one, which they say it because this was established in way back in 90s. Okay, so that's why it has very much experience. And SpaceX does do great things and it is a great company, but in comparison to experience, always UL events, because this has a very good track record of the launches, and that's why NASA relies mainly on the ULA for their launches of highly scientific and costly missions. Okay, one of them is today NROl-101 mission. So now we can have a look at the Atlas V rocket itself. This is the Atlas V rocket, guys. Not this one, but yeah, this one. This is the Atlas V rocket. Atlas V 531 will be today's code. And let's have a bit, have a look about the rocket. So it has one fuel tank, as you can see, and two RD-180 engines. So these two engines run on liquid kerosene and liquid oxygen as its fuel. And then we have these solid rocket boosters. So for these solid rocket booster in today's mission, there is one change, and the first change is uh, obviously this solid rocket boosters are not those which Atlas V uses beforehand. This is a new solid rocket booster which they will be using on their Vulcan rocket, which is their upcoming rocket, which means they kind of developing it because they want to expand their uh, launch capability in and unifying the launch system. Means the Vulcan will be the thing which will be handling all the launches from Atlas V to Delta IV Heavy. That's what kind of a rocket they are developing. Okay, so there they will be using Gem 63 XL. This will be the solid rocket booster they will be using today to test its capability, and that will be used in the Vulcan rocket, and that will have much higher capacity. Okay, so that's about that. Then we have the interstage here, and then we have for the second stage. So you can say see here, this thing is unique. Here we have a second stage as well as the payload, both enclosed in the fairing. As you can see here, the second stage also is enclosed in the fairing, and this second stage uses RL-10 engine and runs on liquid oxygen as and liquid hydrogen as its fuel. Okay, so what does 531 means? And this is kind of, you can say, payload capacity to of the orbit. And today we are going for 531, and it will most probably going to a geo transfer orbit. And so maximum payload it can carry 7,450 kilograms for a 531 configuration. We don't know about the configuration and specs about that spacecraft, because this is a, you can say, I mean, obviously Space Force mission, spike satellite, that's why. So this is a 531 configuration. 5 will be the payload fairing size, 33 will be the number of solid rocket booster, and 1 is the number of Centaur engines. So here I'll see there will be three solid rocket booster, one engine in the upper stage, and 5-meter fairing will be used. That's what it says. Okay, that's pretty much about it. And what are we launching today? Next, Arelino, I just told you that we will be launching the Atlas V rocket. On board will be the NROl-101 mission. 101 spacecraft, which is a you can say US Space Force satellite. And since it's a Space Force satellite, you can see that it can be a spy satellite, and that's why we don't have much information about it. So hopefully what they will do for today's stream also, they will just end the stream when we will have the fairing separation, I guess. They will end the stream because they don't want us to see what is the orbit, and how does the satellite looks like, and something like that. Okay, so that's the thing. So the second thing which has changed for today is they will be using a different ground supporting equipment. I mean to say a different water supply system for suppressing the sound that comes of the rocket. So this is the thing which they will be using today. They have upgraded their launch pad to support the Vulcan rocket. This is their Vulcan rocket, which is their upcoming rocket, and it is pretty much in the development right now. But many of these things have been developed already, so you can say that it will be launched soon. This is the Vulcan rocket they have, and they have upgraded their sound system. You can say sound suppressing system. So here it here how it goes. So for these space sprayers will be placed underneath the rocket, on the side of the rocket, and they will be mostly absorbing most of the sound. And the flow rate, see the flow rate, it is around 2300 gallons per second. That's the flow rate of the water which will be coming out of it. And then we have this here also we will have some water. Deck 62 sprayers will be there, and the flow rate of this will be 3200 gallons per second. Wow, that's really very huge. And then we have lower ASWS, which will be having 56 sprayers, and it will have around 1800 gallons per second. It will reduce the energy on the rocket and payload by 4 decibels to 6 decibels depending on the rocket configuration, and that's pretty huge, uh, considering that the vibrations of the rocket is so large that it can just kill a human being. So yeah, that's the thing. Yes, you can say that. Happy Diwali, Manat Singh. Happy Diwali to you too. And now we can see if we have a launch broadcast. I'll switch over to that. And yeah, that's pretty much about it. You have to know about uh, the launch before seeing the launch, I should say, right? Now just waiting for them to confirm. Right now they are go for launch, and everything is looking pretty good. I mean, Tory Bruno has said that wind is a little bit picking up, but they are still go for launch, and that is also in a green area. So just fingers crossed that wind does not just go around and mess all those things. I mean, the weather obviously plays that role. I just don't want that to happen, and hopefully everything goes as per the plan for today. And how are you guys? How are you? So this is the, yeah, the infographic which you are seeing is the kind of thing which they will be using. They have upgraded their acoustic suppression water system for the first time, and they will be testing for today's launch. That's a pretty cool thing, because if this mission would have been done beforehand, means the previous one, previous attempt which was there around some days back, okay, they wouldn't have used this system. I don't know, but I am guessing that. Um, but yeah, that's pretty cool thing which they are using. So today, two things will be tested for the Vulcan rocket. Their SRBs, GEM 63XL SRBs, as well as this ground support equipment, which is a acoustic suppression water system. And if everything goes according to the plan, then hopefully we will be seeing a Vulcan rocket, and you can see it's a pretty good looking rocket, yeah, as you can see it. And let's hope everything will be good then. Now, do we have the launch stream? No, we're still waiting for it. Let me just see if everything is good and we can have a, yeah. So now he just uh, said that the winds have become lighter, so we will be seeing the launch. So I could have pulled up that also here only. This is the thing. Here we go. This is the SRBs which they are using. Look wise, they don't look very different from the previous one which they were using, but obviously the thing is, you can see here also that they obviously something is different here, right? Building on the legacy of graphite epoxy motors that's powered delta rockets. Yes, delta rockets were powered by gem motors, but wasn't powered by atlas 5, means the atlas series. So this is a different material they are using for SRBs, so hopefully everything goes according to the plan. And now we do have the stream, and I'll be switching over to that. After developing Vulcan, will ULA use Delta Heavy? Well, Manat Singh, ULA has already declared a Delta Heavy will expire in 2022. It has only 4 launches left now, including the one NROl-101 mission, and after that it will be scrapped. So, I mean, this thing really, you can say, for us space fans, this thing is not good because we always want to see that beauty fly. That is a very beautiful rocket, and its ignition sequence is so cool. I also have made a video about that, the explaining the Delta for heavy ignition sequence. It's pretty good, and I actually learned a lot about that rocket. So you can just check that out, check that video, and yeah. So we can have a look at the launch now. Here we go. Hi Mimi, Mariam, how are you? So hopefully they will be doing the launch. No worries, everything will be there. So after developing Vulcan, yes, you can say that Vulcan will be the one which will be serving every launch request which it will be having. So here we go.
Launch director.
Launch vehicle is ready for launch.
We have ignition.
You have permission to launch.
1, and
That's the Delta Heavy.
liftoff of the United Launch Alliance Atlas V rocket.
Mach 1, execute, and we have an indication of spacecraft separation.
Wow, that's a new intro, by the way. I guess. Oh,
Atlas engine ignition.
obviously.
Space Launch Complex 41, an Atlas V rocket, is fueled and ready to launch the NROl-101 mission for the National Reconnaissance Office.
Okay, cool, but the view itself looks very cool here, right, guys? Okay.
Good evening, and welcome to Cape Canaveral Air Force Station in Florida. I'm Dylan Rice, a systems test engineer, launch conductor, and the host for tonight's broadcast. Liftoff is set for 5:24 p.m., and the team is not working any issues at this time. Shortly, the count will enter a planned 7-minute hold. We have 2 planned holds in today's nearly 7-hour launch count today. These holds give our team additional time to resolve any issues prior to entering the terminal count. However, at this time, the team is not working any issues, and we are proceeding towards an on-time liftoff at 5:24 p.m. At the request of our customer, today's live coverage will conclude following payload fairing jettison, scheduled to occur about 3.5 minutes after liftoff. In addition to watching our webcast, you can also follow live mission progress at ulalaunch.com.
Okay. So right now, as you can see, guys, venting is being done, means the fueling is being topped off. Those are the thing which is done by the bleeding valves on the rocket. When the fuel is full, obviously the pressure builds up and it releases the excess pressure from the rocket, because the fuel is liquid oxygen and liquid fuel basically, and that's stored in cryogenic temperature, which is very low, around minus something. So obviously, oh wow, see the beauty. See this beauty, man, see this beauty. This looks really cool, and I don't know why, but this coverage, today's ULA's coverage, is looking somewhat weird. um, That's not what they usually do. Must be something change of the plan at last second. That's what kind of a thing which I can see from their launch. Means the host, I mean the host must have changed or something like that. I don't know. And the probability of violating consent is only 10%. That's pretty much go
Jessica
for
Williams,
launch.
the 45th Space Wing's launch weather officer, recently briefed the team on current conditions here at Cape Canaveral. The probability of violating launch constraints is less than 10%. The ground winds are 10 to 16 knots out of the north, and the temperature is 75 degrees Fahrenheit. With that forecast, the weather is within launch commit criteria and looks favorable for our planned T0 of 5:24 p.m. Eastern Time.
That's what we actually want, right?
This afternoon's flight will fly a northeasterly heading away from Cape Canaveral. Let's take a look at what else we can expect to see.
Atlas engine ignition, 0, and liftoff of the United Launch Alliance Atlas V rocket.
We can have a look at that, Manat Singh. I haven't seen it fully.
The Atlas V RD-180 engine and 3 solid rocket boosters ignite and generate nearly 1.8 million pounds, or 8 million newtons of thrust,
The ULA
to lift the
loves,
rocket off the pad.
Numbers, so you will hear a lot of them now.
Shortly after liftoff, Atlas begins a pitchover to attain the proper flight path, while minimizing the dynamic pressure the vehicle experiences during flight. The Atlas V reaches Mach 1, the speed of sound, at 39 seconds. At 1 minute 34 seconds, the 3 SRBs burn out. Jettison of the first 2 SRBs occurs at 1 minute 54 seconds, followed 2 seconds later by the remaining SRB. In the next 2.5 minutes of first stage flight, the Atlas V will more than triple its velocity. Approaching payload fairing jettison, the Atlas V is burning propellant at a rate of 1,700 pounds, or 770 kilograms per second, traveling more than 7,800 miles, or 12,500 kilometers per hour, and located 73 miles, or 118 kilometers in altitude, and 135 miles, or 217 kilometers downrange. During ascent, NROl-101 is protected inside a 5-meter diameter payload fairing. This 2-piece shell encapsulates both the Centaur upper stage and the spacecraft. Once the vehicle has climbed above the densest part of Earth's atmosphere, the payload fairing is jettisoned. Following payload fairing jettison at 3 minutes 19 seconds, the Atlas V rocket continues on a classified mission to space.
And here where they will end the stream. So yeah, I was right. After the fairing jettison, they will end the stream.
ULA is using an Atlas V 531 rocket to launch NROl-101. This is the 86th Atlas V launch and ULA's 141st mission. Atlas V is built in Decatur, Alabama. Atlas V is made up of a Common Core booster powered by an NPO Energomash RD-180 engine and a Centaur second stage powered by an Airjet Rocketdyne RL-10C1 engine. This vehicle is equipped with 3 Northrop Grumman solid rocket motors and a 5-meter payload fairing. Events began September 9th when the 107-foot-long Atlas V booster was lifted onto the mobile launch platform at the VIF, or Vertical Integration Facility. Next, SRBs were mated to the booster, as shown here.
Okay. So SRBs, yes, kind of look different.
The pre-assembled interstage adapter, Centaur upper stage, and lower half of the payload fairing were added. And stacking was completed on October 26 when the encapsulated payload fairing shown here was mated to the Centaur. An Atlas V launch countdown begins with moving the rocket from the VIF to the pad. 6 components are used for that 20-minute trip. That's about 1/3 of a mile. We use the MLP, which weighs about 2 million pounds. It supports the rocket and contains air conditioning, electrical, and commodity lines. Undercarriages are used to bear the weight of the MLP and rocket. At the head of the train are 2 rail cars made up of the payload van, which provides spacecraft communication and accommodations, and the ground van, which provides support for the rocket. At the rear of the convoy is an environmental control system that provides air conditioning to the payload and rocket. We use 3 trackmobiles to power the 3 million-pound convoy. The Atlas V stands 206 feet tall, or about 60 meters, and weighs more than 1 million pounds, or 489,000 kilograms, fully fueled.
Okay. Thanks for that. So you just saw right now the...
Today's launch is for the National Reconnaissance Office, or NRO. This is ULA's 29th NRO launch.
Okay.
The NRO is a joint organization
now,
engaged in the
okay,
research and
so
development, acquisition,
right now
launch,
I
and
can't...
operation.
No. So the thing is, right now, if I just let it go, then the copyright issue will happen. So no worries. So I was saying, guys, this today you just saw that thing just being assembled, okay, and those solid rocket boosters, in the first glance I didn't find any different design or something like that, but yeah, something somewhat look different, but let's see.
The payload
Everything
fairing
is
on the Atlas
looking
V
good.
rocket carries a few special
There was
pieces
some
of art.
piping kind of a thing in SRB, and that is really very weird to see if that is true or not.
As they do for every mission, the NRO provided unique artwork.
Okay.
The NROl-101
Oh,
stories with a gold ring and elvish script that translates to goodness persists.
okay.
The new Space Force Delta logo is also flying on the Atlas V.
That feels cool. This view, I just love this view. I just really can't tell you guys. I really love this view. The gas venting out of the rocket and then just going into nothingness, reflecting sunlight and everything just looks so phenomenal. And I think there is some problem with their host right now. No worries, I am here.
Here are some live views from Complex 41 as we move closer to our planned T0 at 5:24 p.m. Eastern Time. Clear blue skies in the background with just a few clouds after Tropical Storm Ada made her way through town earlier this week. Here's a broad view of Complex 41.
Go ahead.
First step, 750. You have an estimate.
You can see the large liquid oxygen sphere on the right-hand side of your screen. The four tall lightning protection towers surround the Atlas V rocket, mobile launcher, and the crew access tower. And fuel farms over to the left side of the screen. More prominently featured here, the MLP and the crew access tower with the Atlas V vehicle ready to go.
We're going to make the 15 minutes once I reach 99.8%.
What, that 15 minutes?
At Complex 41, an upgraded acoustic suppression water system will be used for the first time today. ULA's Ron Fortson gives us a preview.
Hello, I'm Ron Fortson. I'm the Director of Program Management Integration here at ULA. I'm standing here underneath the launch deck where soon we'll have the Atlas V rocket carrying the NROl-101 mission showing up here at the pad. When we launch the rocket, the ignition from that rocket causes a lot of noise. The noise is so loud that it can damage your ears. It's also loud enough that it can damage the payload or a launch vehicle when we launch. So we have to use a water suppression system to help dampen out the acoustics caused from that ignition. The acoustic water suppression system we use here at Launch Ops consists of 3 sections. There's an upper section that's part of the MLP, a lower section, and then there's an exit section that's also part of the system. All 3 of these sections deliver about 2,000 to 3,000 gallons of water per second for a total of about 100,000 gallons. When we light the engines, essentially the system kicks in at T-minus 6 seconds with the lower section starting to spray water. Then the duct section will start to spray water at T-minus 5 seconds, and then 4 seconds after launch, the upper section will start to spray water. It'll continue to spray water for 15 seconds after launch. We made some modifications here to accommodate the Vulcan rocket when it shows up here. So with the modifications we made were to add additional sprayers to the lower section you can see behind me here so that we can further damp out some of the acoustics that are caused by that rocket engine. So we're really looking forward to the upcoming launch here on 101 because it'll be an opportunity to see how this system performs.
Exactly. He was right. He is right. He is right.
Here are more views from Complex 41 as the Atlas V stands ready to go. Prominently featured there on the lower part of the vehicle are 2 of the 3 solid rocket boosters that this vehicle is equipped with. Today's Atlas V will be the first to use solid rocket boosters produced by Northrop Grumman. Let's learn more about the GEM 63 solid rocket booster.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Taylor DeYoung with Northrop Grumman.
Okay.
Here in our M508 rocket manufacturing facility, we fabricate the nozzles for our graphite epoxy motors. GEM 63 strap-on boosters are solid rocket motors that provide the rocket's initial thrust at ignition and liftoff from the pad.
And yeah.
These motors are connected to the outside of the rocket and burn for about 100 seconds before detaching from the launch vehicle.
Okay.
We've been developing and producing these strap-on boosters since the early 1980s, and we've continued to improve and expand upon our GEM motor family ever since. The first strap-on motors used heavy steel cases, but we found a way to make them stronger and lighter with a graphite epoxy winding process.
I love this.
Our early GEM motors successfully flew on hundreds of Delta launches over the years.
Delta was the first.
Today, our GEM 63 motors support ULA's Atlas V launch vehicle.
And this is returning back. That's a pretty good
Northrop
thing,
Grumman
right?
is continually evolving its rocket motor products through updated technologies, materials, and processes, and the GEM 63 motor is no exception. We are proud to support ULA and the U.S. National Reconnaissance Office to launch the nation's most critical national security payloads. We're excited to see the GEM motors in flight.
The SRBs look so little. It is such a little part of the rocket, and when it is compared to the scale of a human, it is so damn big. That's what the rockets are all about.
The NROl-101 mission is dedicated to our friend and colleague Mike Ellis. Let's listen into the dedication.
Today's NROl-101 launch has a dedication on the launch vehicle to Michael Thomas Mike Ellis, who passed away at 60 years of age on 17 September 2020. Mike dedicated more than 35 years of his life to supporting national defense. Mike will be remembered by his colleagues in the NRO for being the driving force behind the design and construction of the Eastern Processing Facility at Cape Canaveral, Florida, the world's premier spacecraft processing facility. The words cemented on NROl-101 read, "In memory of our colleague, friend, and patriot. May he rest in peace."
Okay.
We often get questions about the various clock displays visible in the Launch Control Center, most notably the T count and L count clocks. T simply stands for time, and L stands for launch. The T count is a scripted time until T0. All of the launch vehicle's countdown events are procedurally sequenced to T time. The L count is the total amount of time until launch, which is the T time plus the built-in holds. Built-in holds are placed at strategic points in the countdown, for instance before cryogenic loading and before the terminal count and liftoff, and are contingency time that the team can use if needed to catch up in the event of a delay in countdown activities. The Atlas mission uses two 15-minute built-in holds for a total of 30 minutes of hold time, which means that the L count starts out 30 minutes longer than the T count. After the first built-in hold, there is only a 15-minute difference between T and L counts, and when we enter the terminal count, the L and T counts are equal. Preparations today took a little bit longer than expected, and so we did borrow some of the time from that final built-in hold for the pre-cryogenic hold, which left us with a 7-minute terminal count hold for today's mission, which we'll be entering very shortly.
LC-1AC. Radar brief, the Centaur logs has gas indications. LD net 1. LD net 1.
LD on 1.
MD net 1.
MD's on 1.
Proceed AC. Okay, the team reviewed the ARB that was held to discuss this issue. We did today again violate the 4% of the TRD. However, the ARB did give justification for up to 8% of O2, 2% H2. We are within those limits, and we recommend proceeding. LC concurs, LD.
LD concurs.
MD.
MD concurs.
Okay, finally. I thought there is some bad news coming up, but no. Welcome to the stream, Luis Carter. How are you? And well, I mean, the golden rocket is pretty white right now, just because of the cryogenic fuels in it, and the Florida or wherever it is the launch is happening. the condensation of the water molecules is happening, as you can see that being frozen on the rocket, and that's you can say works like a dampener on the rocket also, sound dampener on the rocket also, because that falls off when the rocket ignites, and those vibration are absorbed by those ice crystals and taken away. So it's kind of a good also, but sometimes it is not good also, because if it gets stuck for a long time and it by chance, because of that, if it hits any engine part, then it can damage it also.
T-minus 6 minutes.
Is it T minus 6 minutes, T minus 4 minutes, and holding will be there if I'm not wrong, and that's why the T minus clock is different uh, here in the stream as well as on the countdown which I have done. So hopefully if we have a T minus 4 minutes hold, which is a planned one, then that will be a 7 minutes hold.
LC, LDN1.
And then it will match.
A new T0 of 22:32.
Copy 22:32.
Good copy.
Atlas LO2 at flight level.
Roger. RC, LC, net 1.
RC.
Please coordinate a new T0, 22:32.
Copy 223200 Zulu, inward.
T-minus 5 minutes. LC LOX 2.
Go.
Centaur LO2 at flight level.
Roger.
LC to flight control.
Okay, we just heard the launch director direct the launch conductor to set up for a new T0 of 5:32 p.m. Eastern Time. We will make that adjustment when the clocks enter the built-in hold here in just a few moments, about 30 seconds from now.
Okay, so there will be a hold, no worries with that, but is it just a sec? Is my clock
T-minus 4
correct?
minutes and holding. This is a programmed 15-minute hold.
Oh.
LC switch to not ready. ALC, please set for a new T0 of 22:32 Zulu.
Roger.
And the team has now entered that final built-in hold. The ALC will be, Assistant Launch Conductor, will be setting the clocks for the new T0 as directed by the leadership team.
It was a little bit late. Now the countdown is a little bit late because it's kind of slipped, so that's why some change is there. Okay, so Manas Singh saying, how do they fill in the centaur stage because it is enclosed in the fairing? No worries with that. You can see there are
LC, ALC. Oh. Countdown clock has been set for a new T0 of 22:32 Zulu.
Roger.
Okay, so if you see the rocket, then you'll be able to see
ranges approved 2230 Zulu T0.
There are many pipes going on in the fairing.
That's good copy.
And those are responsible for filling in.
Team, clocks are set. We have an approved T0 of 22:32 Zulu.
If I'm not wrong.
Currently approaching L-minus 17.
I hope I'm not wrong. And as you just heard, Launch Conductor Scott Barney verifying the team is now realigned to the new T0 of 22:32 Zulu time, which equates to 5:32 p.m. Eastern time. That puts us at just over 17 minutes prior to liftoff.
Okay, so
the next major milestone will be the terminal count status check, and that'll be occurring in about 10 minutes.
Okay, so you can see there are many pipes going on in the fairing. So these pipes are responsible for filling in the second stage, and the top one, the first pipe in the fairing, the top one is responsible for maintaining the temperature, if I'm not wrong, and those three ones at the bottom are responsible for filling up the second stage. if I'm not wrong. I'm just totally guessing it. I mean, it is a informed guess, knowledgeable guess, but yeah, I don't know, but that's what makes sense to me. That's why. So right now they're at T minus 4 minutes and hold. That is a planned hold, guys. No worries with that. But they have done some time changes. Earlier they were to launch at 5:32, if I'm not wrong. 522 is the new T0, right? Earlier there it was 5:14.
As I mentioned earlier, today's launch is ULA's 29th for the NRO. Let's take a look at the huge role the NRO plays in the security of our country.
Destination is not being revealed. Hopefully it's a geotransfer orbit, because it's a spy satellite mission, so they don't want us to know what is the destination and everything, those specifications, right? Oh, Delta for Heavy.
We are the agency that made the impossible possible.
Okay.
Protected the world and brought technology to levels undreamt of. The race to space was a series of firsts, and we were there. We were the first to surveil our adversaries from the high ground of space, literally taking technology to new heights, watching our adversaries, guarding against the threat of nuclear, and providing strategic advantage to our nation. We were the agency no one had heard of, because we worked in total secrecy.
Exactly.
But we've stepped out of the shadows, and we are writing the next chapters of American space technology. We are the National Reconnaissance Office, the NRO, the world leader in our
Rocket
tradecraft,
Lab.
collecting top secret imagery and signals from space.
SKSP, right? Okay.
Natural disasters threaten thousands of lives. Conflicts displace millions, and adversaries mount threats. We give advance warning, aid in the aftermath, protect our citizens, and safeguard the world. We are the only agency that develops these tools, partnering with the intelligence community, the military, and the best of private industry to drive innovation. We are the leader in space intelligence systems, the NRO. At the heart of it, our people who take satellites from idea to orbit, focusing talent and resources, developing, building, launching, operating sophisticated NRO systems that help us maintain global vigilance 24/7, 365. Small sats made possible by miniaturization, reducing costs and expanding possibilities. Large satellites with capabilities designed to answer our toughest national security questions. Pioneering achievements on the ground, where analysts bring it all together. How do we do it? By investing in the latest research and development, using augmentation, automation, machine learning, and artificial intelligence, employing acquisition strategies to encourage competition, enabling us to work with the industry's best and brightest, like-minded people, committed to technology without limits. This is where careers rise to heights unimagined, where you can take your eyes and ears into space. We deliver, under budget and on schedule, meeting and exceeding expectations, to answer questions yet unasked. We develop new technologies every day and put them to use in record time in the high ground of space. No one can match us. The National Reconnaissance Office, the world leader in intelligence gathering. We are the NRO.
Okay, so hopefully I don't get a copyright for that. If I get, I don't know. Okay, let's see. So we are now T minus 11 minutes from the launch, and everything is looking good. Since they have shifted the time, I don't know what will be the thing about the weather. Right now the weather looks really cool. No
LC Fuel 2.
Go Fuel 2.
First step 860, Centaur LH2 at flight level.
Roger.
LC Peony 2.
Go.
Step 760, Centaur LH2 SVV cycle tests are complete.
Roger.
Okay.
L minus 11 minutes.
All right, team, this is LC on net 1. We are complete to operations for Operation 50, picking up in Operation 60, and working for the clock.
So this planned hold of T minus 4 minutes is a thing which allows them to basically set the clock if there is something issue with the countdown, weather is not there or anything. So this hold is kind of advantageous to them because it provides a checkpoint of something. If anything is looking good or not, then they can just adjust the time according to that. So yeah, kind of cool thing to have. Guys, if you just have any question, you can just ask me, and hopefully if I have the answers.
All communications switch to channel 1. All personnel and visitors remain in present position until launch. Maintain operational silence in the LCC.
Okay.
Terminal count briefing. If a condition exceeds a launch constraint anytime after the terminal count status check, the observer shall announce hold, hold, hold on channel 1, identify the station, and briefly state the reason for the hold. Flight control, perform launch on time verification.
Roger.
Here we go.
OSM, place SRB ignition SNA switch in the enable position.
Now we will hear the poll for the launch, if I'm not wrong.
SRB ignition enabled.
But why they have...
Verify CISA purge flow, flowing GN2 to the CISA.
Verified.
OSM, verify the...
Come on, man, we want to hear the mission control audio also.
In a few moments, Launch Conductor Scott Barney will poll the launch team for the final go to pick up the countdown. 29 engineers and managers are polled for system status and readiness to proceed. This is the final status check for all ATS vehicle systems, ground systems, the spacecraft, and the U.S. Space Force Eastern Range. The vehicle system readiness poll includes electrical systems, hydraulics, pneumatics, propulsion systems, flight control, and propellants. Let's listen in as Scott Barney performs the final polling here in about 30 seconds.
Okay, so at T minus 8 minutes around, they will do a poll. So you just heard...
LC switch to the ready position. All steps are complete prior to the status check.
You just heard about the hold kind of a thing. I don't want to hear that today, at least. No.
L minus 8 minutes.
The status check should be online now, and they should be doing that. Let's see what happens. Mimi says I'm on Eastern time too. Okay, good for you.
And my apologies, we are now about 30 seconds away from that final status check occurring.
Oh, it happens at T minus 7 minutes. Okay. Okay. And here we go for the status check.
Status check to proceed with terminal count. Respond go, no go. Atlas systems, propulsion.
Go.
Hydraulics.
Go.
Pneumatics.
Go.
LO2.
Go.
Water.
Go.
Centaur systems, propulsion.
Go.
Pneumatics.
Go.
LO2.
Go.
LH2.
Go.
Gas.
Go.
Electrical systems airborne.
Go.
Ground.
Go.
Facility.
Go.
RFFTS.
Go.
Flight control.
Go.
GCQ.
Go.
GCQ.
Go.
GCQ Net 1.
Go.
Roger. Operation support.
Go.
Com.
Go.
Umbilicals.
Go.
ECS.
Go.
Red line monitor.
Go.
Quality.
Go.
Op safety manager.
Go.
ULA safety officer.
Go.
Vehicle system engineer.
Go.
Anomaly chief.
Go.
Range coordinator.
Clear to proceed.
Launch director.
Launch vehicle is ready to launch.
Mission director.
You have permission to launch.
And we are
Proceeding with the count.
go for
ALC,
launch, guys.
Verified T0 is set for 22:32 Zulu.
Verified.
And that's a pretty good thing to hear, man.
Polling is complete. The ULA launch team and the NRO mission director are go for launch. From T-minus 4 minutes until launch, you'll be listening to Scott Barney and his team performing the final steps in the countdown procedure. You'll hear the team call out that a topping has been secured, followed about a minute later by the call out for transferring the Atlas and Centaur stages from ground facility power to internal battery power. At T-minus 1:55, the team will command the launch sequencer to start, followed shortly by securing the Centaur liquid hydrogen and Centaur liquid oxygen topping activities. At T-minus 140, the team will command the flight control system to launch enable and arm the flight termination system. In the final minute, Atlas tanks will be verified at flight pressures, followed by a verification of Centaur tank pressures. A final status check of Atlas, Centaur, and NROl-101 readiness is conducted at T-minus 25 seconds. At T-minus 3 seconds, the RD-180 engine will roar to life. After liftoff, you'll hear the voice of Rob Kesselman providing launch vehicle ascent data.
Okay, so Mimi says, can you please give me the launch designer, launch location, launch designer? I don't know what that means. If you are saying what is the launch maker for this rocket, that's ULA, United Launch Alliance. Location is Cape Canaveral, Fall, Florida.
You're on net 1.
And the destination for the payload most probably is Geotransfer Orbit.
This is Atlas Mission Control at T-minus 4 minutes and holding. We anticipate releasing the hold in just a few moments.
On my mark, the time will be T-minus 4 minutes and counting. 3, 2, 1, mark.
The countdown clock has resumed, and we are go for launch at 5:32 p.m. Eastern Time.
Ground gyros enabled.
Guys, it is happening. Literally, it's happening. And Atlas 5, if today ULA launches their rocket, then they will be like relieving most of their pressure because of so much of scrubs, aborts, weather violation, and whatnot. So this today's launch, they really want it to happen. They will just, it will give them a motivation to just work and make everything happen again. And hopefully after this launch of the Atlas 5, we will have a launch date for the Delta IV Heavy also, which has been there for net, and originally it was supposed to launch in September, then October, and now it is no earlier than
3 minutes.
nothing. We don't know anything about it.
Securing LO2 topping.
Atlas tanks to flight pressure.
Has been delayed so many times, but yeah, okay.
250.
We are at least seeing the Atlas 5 launch.
FTS internal.
And the view is phenomenal. It's so cool, beautiful, and no words for it.
The Atlas tanks are now pressurizing for flight, and the flight termination system is on internal power.
Okay. So we are, guys, now T-minus 2 minutes and 20 seconds from the launch. Venting is looking good. The view is looking good. The rocket is looking superb with its whitish coating of ice with its GEM 63 XL boosters. And fingers crossed.
159.
Let's hope it actually flies now.
155.
Launch sequencer start.
150.
Securing Centaur LH2.
Securing Centaur LO2.
Now the
140,
fuel tanks have been secured. Means
137,
no topping will be there now. Means
FCS armed.
the filling pipe has been secured, if I'm not wrong.
120,
OCU's armed.
Guys,
FCS count started.
115,
Reduce ECS for launch.
Roger.
110,
it's happening.
Vent valve lock.
We are now T minus 1 minute from the launch.
1 minute.
Rock.
Okay,
Range status.
fingers crossed.
Range green.
Range is green, yes.
The launch vehicle, payload, ground systems, and eastern range are all go for launch.
We are go for launch. Oh man. My heart rate is beating up now.
T minus 40 seconds.
Label at step 3.
Here we go, the flare stacker. T minus 30 seconds, guys.
28,
ECS reduced for launch.
Roger.
25,
Status check. Go Atlas.
Go Centaur.
Go NROl-101.
T minus 20, 18, 17.
With that call,
60,
the NROl-101 mission is ready to
15,
launch.
14, 13, 12, 11, 10.
T minus 10,
10,
9,
9,
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, Atlas ignition,
Ignition
2,
and
1, 0, and liftoff. Liftoff to the Atlas NROl-101 mission for the National Reconnaissance Office.
Oh man.
You're hearing the voice of Rob Kesselman providing launch vehicle ascent data.
Roll maneuver.
This actually happened. I'm so happy now.
180 has gone to closed loop engine control. Atlas has now completed its pre-programmed switchover maneuver.
Everything is looking
Now,
good.
28 seconds into flight, Atlas is 2 miles in altitude, going at 1,200 miles per hour. RD-180 has throttled down slightly as expected. Engine response looks good. RD-180 past Mach 1. Engine pump speeds and injector pressures are in family for this thrust level. SRBs look good.
Everything is nominal, guys. SRB jettison is coming up.
RD-180 has throttled back up as planned. Mach 2.
Okay, so now the Mach 2 is there. Now the SRB should be.
Now 70 seconds into flight, Atlas is 10 miles in altitude, 5.9 miles in altitude, 2,100 miles velocity.
They really have a very high quality camera, and the weather is so clear today. They're actually
Atlas has passed Mach 3.
able to capture every bit of this
Standing by for SRB burnout.
launch.
We have burnout on all 3 SRBs. Standing by for jettison.
Burnout is on the HRBs have been there, and now standing by for jettison. And here we go.
The RD-180 is now throttling down slightly. And we have
SRB
jettison
jettison
on all 3
confirmed.
SRBs.
Finally. This is the onboard
All
camera view.
personnel Net 1 start system securing.
Oh,
Operation
wow.
Vehicles
7.
now past Mach 5.
See those 3 beautiful SRBs just going
Approximately
away.
2 minutes remain in the Atlas booster phase of flight.
Man. And beautiful view of the Earth from
Time,
space.
Booster tank pressures look good.
This,
And booster battery voltages remain in their expected range.
oh. Wow. Sun just rose from the horizon, and this plume is looking so phenomenal. And but
RD-180
okay, so
continues
it's
to operate as
stabilized.
expected.
There was a roll maneuver there, and I thought the problem, but no, nothing is there. Everything is cool, and we can
Since our reaction control system is now pressurizing the flight level.
see those ice chunks just flying away now. And wow.
We are now 3 minutes into flight on the L-101 mission. Atlas is now 66 miles in altitude, 120 5 miles downrange, traveling at 7,500 miles per hour.
Oh, there we go. The fairing jettison has
Now
been
throttling down in
confirmed.
preparation for payload fairing jettison.
Has been confirmed.
We've had successful payload fairing jettison and successful CFLR load deck jettison.
Now the stream will end.
House is throttling back up after the separation events.
Okay, just don't show us the payload and don't show us any readings. Just let us enjoy the view. Nah.
Though they look the same, this evening's Atlas V rocket lifted off with new solid rocket boosters. Program leads Jamie Umshed and Samantha Suarez recently sat down to discuss the new SRBs. Let's take a look.
Hi, I'm Jamie Umshed. I am the Vehicle Systems Engineer for Vulcan Centaur program at United Launch Alliance. Prior to this role, I was the integration lead for the GEM 63 program. With me today is Samantha Suarez, Systems Engineer and Integrator. Together, we led the integration program for the GEM 63 on Atlas V. NROl-101 will be the first mission to fly those SRBs. Under a strategic partnership, Northrop Grumman was chosen to be the sole provider of solid rocket boosters to United Launch Alliance for our family of rockets. It's a lower cost alternative to the SRBs that have been flying on Atlas V since 2003.
So one of the interesting parts or challenging parts of integrating these motors is you have to be able to swap out the SRB and make sure you're not increasing risk to the Atlas launch vehicle, and additionally that you're meeting system performance requirements. The main thing was setting a really strong requirements foundation.
Exactly.
Working with our system level teams and ensuring that we flowed system level requirements down to the design requirements and that the supplier built to those. Also understanding with those requirements which ones did have some flexibility so that when we ran into challenges as we were developing these motors, we could react appropriately, and understanding verification of those requirements.
Northrop Grumman would go through incremental design phases for the motors. They started with a system requirements review, then progressed into preliminary and critical design reviews. Every step of the way, our government customer was a partner in that process. Once you get through your design phases, then you get to go do the fun part, test.
So there's a lot of different phases of testing. So you'll have some early on development testing for like proof of concept, and you get into component specific stuff. For the SRB itself, there's two major tests, structural and performance. Structural, we did what was called super proof, where you pressurize the case and you apply loads on it and ensure that the case functions as intended when it's under load. Then you have static fire, which is how you validate the performance of the motor. Static fire is unique for solids in that with an SRB, you don't get to fire it before you fly it, so the qual is crucial.
After the flight of L-101, we will actually be transitioning the Atlas V over to GEM 63s after 2021. Same year, 2021, we're going to be flying the first Vulcan Centaur, and Vulcan Centaur will use the larger, more powerful variant of the motor, the GEM 63 XL. Flying the GEM 63 first on Atlas gives us an opportunity to have more confidence in that first flight of Vulcan Centaur, and it also allows us to reduce the cost of the Atlas V and make it more competitive in the launch market. I was on the program for 4 years, and I don't know about you, but I'm pretty excited.
I am so excited, and I know we're not the only ones. There's a ton of people from ULA, Northrop folks, and the US government that were all key contributors to this program, and I'm definitely ready to see them fly.
Exactly. So actually it is not like KSP just remove the boosters and apply some other one. No, it does not work like that.
My thanks to Rob Kesselman for his participation in today's broadcast. Stay updated with the mission on ULA's live blog at ulalaunch.com or join the conversation on social media.
We can see the second stage firing,
Before we
guys.
sign off, we'll take you to another look at liftoff, which occurred at 5:32 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm Dylan Rice on behalf of the ULA launch team. Thanks for joining us, and have a great evening.
We just saw the second stage firing.
NROl-101 mission is ready to launch. T-minus 10.
So this is a replay,
7,
nothing else.
6, 5, 4, 3, Atlas ignition, 2, 1, 0, and liftoff. Liftoff to the Atlas NROl-101 mission for the National Reconnaissance Office. You are hearing the voice of Rob Kesselman providing launch vehicle ascent data.
Ready 180 hits on the closed loop engine control. Atlas has now completed its pre-programmed pitchover maneuver. Now at 28 seconds into flight.
Okay, so I can definitely say that today's launch
1200 miles per hour.
coverage was definitely something, and right now we can just hear from one channel, right? That's what they have provided. I don't know what's wrong with the coverage with them today.
SRBs look good.
So this is the totally rocket cam now. Okay, so this is a different view.
Mach 2.
And we can see right now it is just going straight up.
5.9 miles in altitude. 2100.
Or no, it is pitching over. Yeah, it is pitching over. We can see that now. Yes, Luis Carter, I'll be covering each and everything, and now it is not tomorrow. It will come day after tomorrow because there was some issues with the range or weather, I don't know. But it has been rescheduled from tomorrow to day after tomorrow. So yeah, I'll be streaming that. No worries with that, and that will be a long stream of around 5 hours or so. So yeah, I'll be there with you. Don't worry. And I need to. It will be like around. The stream will start around 2 a.m. here and end around 7 a.m. tomorrow. So yeah, I'll be streaming that. No worries. Okay, so here we had the launch of the SRBs today, not the SRBs, of course, the Atlas V rocket, and we just saw the beautiful liftoff of that. The only thing today I found really weird was the stream itself from the coverage, the launch broadcast. I don't know why am I saying this, but uh, I have seen ULA's other launch streams also, but today was a little bit off. I don't know why, but yeah, that was the case. No worries with that. This thing looked so cool at the liftoff also, and before liftoff also, and after liftoff also, obviously. And we just saw from the screens also that the second stage was firing, which means we had a successful the first is separation, and then interstage also, and the light the ignition of the second stage. So that was a thing, and we also saw the spacecraft there, the satellite or whatever you can say. And yeah, that's pretty much about it today, guys. And thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate the effort. Just like hearing me blabbering at all these topics really takes something to hear. Okay, so I really appreciate that, and do join in for the Crew 1 launch, which will happen a day after tomorrow. And yeah, thanks Ken, thanks for streaming. Land those 3 boosters back in Florida at the same time would be too cool. Those boosters are SRBs, so SRBs are not reignitable, and won't be possible. One thing which they can do is do the space shuttle thing and land them with the parachutes, which they can kind of do, but obviously doing that will obviously cost more. Yeah, that's an economic prospect, because landing a rocket, you will be like making a whole new SRB will be lesser than just refurbishing a used one. Yes, it will be, because first of all, those are the small SRBs. Those are not big SRBs like space shuttle had. Second of all, why it will be so costly? Because the major cost will be developing those parachute system, and then recovering that rocket successfully and transporting it back to the launch facility, then refurbishing it, and then again having all those SRB fuel there installed there. So doing all that thing will cost more than just making a new one. So that's why they will just make a new one. That's how economics work. Okay, so okay, that's pretty much about it. Thank you so much for streaming. Ken says Rocket Gyan later, Louise and Mimi ECT. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Until then, this is Priyanshu Rohila signing off, and you just saw Rocket Gyan. Stay safe, stay healthy, and bye bye.